Welcome to Interfaith Connections. I am your host, Jackie Fuller. We have in the studio today Satyani McPherson. She is an independent film producer and director, and she is also a teacher of meditation. She is also an entrepreneur, and her business is called Kozmique Light Media. So she is a jack of all trades, and we are honored to have her on our program. Thank you for coming on the show today, Satyani.
Thank you.
Now, can you share with our viewers some background information about yourself and some of the work that you're involved in?
Well, I'm very active in women in film and video in the Conscious Media Roundtable, and we're a group of media makers who sponsor screenings and presentations by filmmakers who are creating conscious media in various forms. Conscious media basically in the sense that it's something that inspires spiritual awakening and consciousness. Not necessarily only socially conscious, but more so spiritually conscious. And Women in Film and Video is a nonprofit organization that supports media makers of all genders with an emphasis on women in media. And I also work through the IMCW, Insight Meditation Community of Washington, D.C., teaching meditation in within the justice system and to youth in the Washington, D.C. area. And I also have my own meditation practice. I love meditation, yoga, dancing, travel, and what else would you like to know?
That's cool. Now we're going to start with the women in film and video piece for maybe those who have artistic expression through their spiritual work. How is that set up at Women in Film and Video for those type of producers or those who are interested in media that want to do something around conscious media? What does that pertain?
Well, we definitely support people who have already created media by screening them and inviting them to discuss their creative process and what they went through in creating whatever film or media they've created. And we also encourage and support people within Women in Film and Video, but throughout the entire conscious media community to create new media. And we're as a matter of fact, just had a meeting this morning with one of my colleagues discussing the possibility of creating a conscious media film festival where we would invite people to send in new productions that haven't yet been screened or, through the other outlets that are available.
And how typically are those type of artists who are producers, directors, when they want to do something that's conscience-based, are they tapping into like local faith communities, or is it something they just build on their own? Like there's some people what's the gentleman who did the I Am movie a while back, and he just went around and asked people different things. Is that what they come to maybe the conscious group with Women in Film and Video to get that kind of assistance on how to produce or?
Oh, well, Tom Shadyac doesn't need any assistance from us. He has a long history of blockbuster successes. However, we invited him, and we were very grateful that he squeezed us into his very busy schedule. So someone like Tom Shadyac had a life-changing awakening when he had a life-threatening motorcycle accident, that inspired him to change his focus from comedy and blockbusters to media that inspires people to really investigate what is their purpose in life and to actually manifest that. Then for some of the members of WIF, some of my colleagues that I work with, each of us has our own spiritual practice and belief system, and perhaps may even be involved with a particular spiritual institution. That's not necessary. And each of us has a drive to speak to the masses through media, which is a very powerful medium in inspiring people to really go beyond just, paying bills and going to work and raising your children, which are all important and are part of our development as spiritual beings, but to go even more deeply into investigating the things that are not necessarily so tangible in our lives, but are very important in our development as human beings. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it answers my question. Cool. And speaking of spiritual practice, how does your spiritual beliefs intertwine with the projects and maybe work that you do in production?
Well, some of the spiritual practice, when I'm doing some of my spiritual practice, such as mindfulness meditation, or even another practice called visioning, life visioning, I allow myself to clear my mind, and then ideas do come, how to express myself creatively and spiritually in a way that will engage the viewer of a potential production. I'm trying to think. Oftentimes, I'm always looking for conscious media, whether it's through the Oprah Winfrey Network or it's through Netflix or online. I watch a lot of media online that never makes it to the airwaves. And then when someone is sharing a personal experience that is very moving, where you can see that they've been very transformed, then I try to reach out to them and see if they're interested in joining us and sharing that with our group and with the overall masses of Washington, D.C., who are interested in their own spiritual development and learning more about what others are doing.
Now, are these viewings, are they only limited to what happens at WIF, or are they also held in other parts of the area to do viewings or workshops, or is it everything based at their headquarters?
Oh, there's nothing based at our headquarters except for administration.
Okay.
So we have corporate partners who offer their spaces as a donation to host our events. So I'll give a shout out to Interfaith Media because they've been very generous in hosting conscious media events, but so many WIF events where we bring in producers and directors and writers to share their experience and their wisdom with our community.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And have you also interacted with students that also want to build up conscious media? Have you dealt with young people? Yes,
a colleague of mine, Mimi Machado, works with. Oh goodness, I'm trying to remember the name of the Anyway, there's a opportunity that they've created to train high school students in production. So they actually train them in camera and operating the camera and capturing clean audio, in creating content, writing scripts, and in editing their work. And then they end up making a public service announcement for an existing nonprofit organization in Washington, D.C. Image Makers, that's what it's called.
Okay. Yes.
Image Makers trains the youth through volunteers who are coming through WIF, Women in Film and Video, and they train the youth to produce a PSA, and the youth make the PSA completely on their own with the training from the professionals, but the youth are actually producing the PSA, and it's very inspiring. In fact, I did a little segment where just prior to brainstorming their idea and their script, I did a brief meditation with them to help them clear their mind and just allow the creative ideas to flow.
And when does that's good to know. So when does the Image Makers program take place?
They might be wrapping it up right now, but it's been taking place over the last few weeks. So that would be in the month of February and March.
March. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And and because we do focus a lot with nonprofits here on the program, what type of nonprofits are usually selected for image makers to do a PSA on? Does it have to be?
I know they're doing one for Joe's Emporium. And there's another one, and I really wish I could remember their name because it was a wonderful organization that also it works with youth and young adults in if they have an idea for a script, for a play, or for a video, they help them to bring it to life, to move from the idea to the actual production.
So they can take these PSAs and pretty much have it aired on TV, or they can run it on their website or on a YouTube channel type
Exactly.
setup. Okay, that's very good. And that's all, and it's free. They don't have, the nonprofits don't have to pay, right?
Oh, no.
Okay, so it's pro bono. Okay, exciting. Because key thing with a lot of nonprofits, and even those who do maybe advocacy work and may have a interfaith tie to it, or maybe just a group that wants to reach out to the homeless, but at the same time wants to use the power of media to focus on reaching new audiences and using those type of things like a PSA could be very informative. So that's really good that WIF is doing that. And in addition to that, with your business, how does that tie in with your work, your passion, your beliefs with Kozmique like media?
Well, I've been blessed to interview some spiritual teachers about not only about their philosophy of life, so to speak, but also about their own personal experiences and what they went through in transforming from, kind of everyday life to whatever awakening occurred that inspired them to share with others in supporting their own spiritual development. So I am working on some of those interviews and molding it into some film shorts and eventually combining them with future interviews into a longer format.
Okay. And what have been some of the successes your business have? Any examples you can share with us?
It's more of a personal satisfaction in living my dream to share, for me, what is really the most important. What our spirit is something that is eternal, whereas the body appears and disappears. And to me, that developing a conscious awareness of how spirit expresses is really the purpose for human existence. And so it's very rewarding to be able to reach people and share that information coming from different perspectives and different experiences. Okay. It's just my passion, what can I say?
So do you go through a transformation process or evolution in your work? Is it always you learn something new every time you do a project, or are you working with a team on a particular project? Is that part of the process too when you explain all that?
Well, it's all of the above, actually.
Okay.
Because I happen to love nonfiction, so I focus more so on documentaries. And the beautiful thing about that is that I may have a certain idea, but then when you end up talking to someone, especially if they have deep insights into their life experience and whatever potential they can share with others, it's lovely to see what comes out of the interaction with another person. And sometimes things are revealed that you didn't initially plan for. So it's discovery, self-discovery, but also discovery that another person is offering. And as you know, making media is definitely a team effort. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can cogitate and have ideas, but eventually to bring them to fruition, you have to work with a team in order for it to run smoothly, basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with someone who is, again, want to enter this type of work, do you have any suggestions or recommendations that that individual can do that wants to create conscious media or get involved in a WIF type organization, or have a screening? Maybe they already have something done, or maybe in some cases, I'm not sure if guys are involved in WIF. So it's like, how do they make those connections to get the word out about their craft? Well, with that conscious kind of like connection.
For one, they can feel free to contact us. We have, WIF has an office in Washington, D.C. They can certainly call them. They could also contact me by email. What would I suggest? I would suggest just go for it, you know, whether it's with your iPhone, or if you buy a little camera, or if you make use of a place like this. Cable access is a wonderful way to get training, or if you want to study in a media program in college. There's so many ways to, there's no limit on how you can get involved to just get your hands on a camera and start creating media. Just play around with your ideas and see what develops. But I would welcome them to contact us if people have ideas and they want to brainstorm, or they want a venue where they could screen and get some feedback, or discuss with other like-minded people, where our doors are always open for partnering with other people who are either thinking about creating media or just want to watch conscious media.
Okay. And do you have an email that you can share with the audience, or a website, just in case people want to take notes?
So, people could reach me, Satyani McPherson, at my email, which is sistersatyani@gmail.com. So that's sister, S-I-S-T-E-R, Satyani, S-A-T-Y-A-N-I, @gmail.com.
Okay. And another question, I'm just curious with the business, because your Kozmique is spelled with a K versus the C. Can you explain why is it spelled that way? Just curious to know.
Well, my parents named me Karen Lee McPherson, so you have the KLM for Cosmic Light Media. And I also speak French, so I spelt it with a kind of a French twist, Kozmique. I just was trying to be different.
Okay.
I have to be a little different. What can I say?
That's good to know.
And cosmic, basically, the meaning of the word cosmic is basically encompassing everything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because it's good when when you see things are spelled different that way. It's a very unique pitch to the brand when you're marketing and everything. So I just want to have that clarified for our viewers when they see the information here. Now, are you tied to a local spiritual community here in the DC area?
Well, mostly I say that I freelance.
Okay.
So not with a specific community. Definitely I work with Insight Meditation Community of Washington. I also attend non-dual satsang at One Circle Center in Maryland. I love doing yoga at Beloved Yoga in Reston. I love to meditate at home. I love to connect with like-minded people in many venues. I don't limit myself. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what was I missed the name of? Can you pronounce? I think it was like 2 places, being with a D or something. Name the 3 again.
IMCW. Non-dual satsang?
Yes.
Okay. What is your question?
Can you explain that one in particular? What is that?
Okay, non-dual is the understanding that there is no difference between the divine and its creation. So therefore, it actually came from a word called Advaita from Sanskrit, which means not two, which is a portion of the Vedic studies. But it's not limited to Hinduism, because the non-dual understanding reveals itself in many of the world's religions, such as Buddhism, and also through teachers who don't affiliate with any particular religion. So there's the understanding that there's the source, which is an aware presence out of which everything arises. Out of this, thoughts arise, ideas arise, and out of ideas, physical manifestation comes. There's, so for example, they said, God said, let there be light, and there was light. So there was the idea in God's mind through Christian teachings, out of which creation appeared. There are many creation stories, but for some people who practice meditation, sometimes when we still our mind, we're able to become more aware of the very subtle essence of every human being, which is basically an awareness. So if you were to stop and say, well, who am I? There's something that's aware of that idea that I am, of my presence here. But that's not who you are, because there's something, if you pause, that's aware of that idea. Does that make any sense to you?
But it's better explained, yeah.
So there's the awareness, there's an aware presence that is the essence of every being, every life form. Even the plants have a certain amount of awareness because they respond to the weather conditions, to the sun, to the rain, to the heat, to the cold. And certainly sentient beings, human beings, we all have this awareness, and that is what has no beginning or end. And out of this, it becomes connected with a physical existence.
You are also an ambassador for an event called Revelations. Can you share with us what exactly is that, and what do you do, and what's going on around that?
Well, Revelation is the brainchild of Agape International Spiritual Center in Culver City, Los Angeles, founded by Reverend Michael Beckwith. So every year they go to a different part of the country to host the Revelation gathering, which is a wonderful opportunity for celebration, through music, through dance, through inspiring speakers. And some of the speakers that will be there, in addition to Reverend Beckwith and his wife, Ricky Byers Beckwith, who directs the Agape Choir, which is actually world-renowned and very beautiful music and very inspirational. But they're also having featured guest presenters such as Neil Donald Walsh, who's the author of Conversations with God series, and Reverend Sheila McKeithen, who is the leader of the Universal Center of Truth in Jamaica, West Indies, and also Deborah King, who is an energy healer and life coach and a New York Times best-selling author. So together they create a wonderful event on May 1st through 4th. That's a Thursday evening through a Sunday morning, and then all day on Friday and Saturday of presentations that just very inspiring. Basically, the reason why I love Reverend Michael is because he's come out of a long tradition. He's trained as a Christian minister. However, he's also gone through the new thought teachings through religious science. And so he is very inspirational in challenging us to look within at the Christ Spirit within each of us. So instead of looking, also recognizing the Christ Spirit in each other, but instead of focusing on the Christ Spirit as it manifested 2,000 years ago, we can learn from that example in expressing that in our own lives every day and really manifesting the vision for our own lives and why we're here on earth. And so it's just a very uplifting, inspiring, joyous occasion. And then in between presentations and after presentations, they also have a separate space for meditation and prayer, and they have wonderful I forget what they call them, but people who will pray with you if you want them to, and the prayer is so uplifting and inspirational. And then they also have, for a small fee, body workers available who do massage and other forms of body work. But the main event, Revelation, is focusing on a theme of emerge and see. So allowing the vision to emerge from you so it can be seen and expressed in the world.
Now, how can people find out about going to Revelation?
Okay, well, Revelation is offering a discounted group rate through ambassadors such as myself, and through an ambassador, you can receive that discounted group rate, and I can be contacted at knowbeflow@gmail.com for more information. So that's know, Knowbe, BE, flow, FLOW, @gmail.com. And I'd be happy to share any information and help people to register. You can register for the whole event or for one day. You can also, there are also very discounted rates offered to students. So if you're a student, they try to make it affordable for them to attend. So I'm happy to share that information with anyone who's interested in Revelation 2014 at knowbeflow@gmail.com.
Okay. Well, it definitely sounds like it's a very moving spiritual experience, and people know to get in touch with you on the process to do that. So that should be exciting to connect with those viewers who want to be more involved with that. So definitely looking forward to hearing more about it. And I also want to thank you as well, because you shared a lot, and it's exciting of the different things that's going on with you and how you're contributing to the world through your work. So we do appreciate you coming on the program. Thank you so much, Satyani. We appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. And now we'll take a break here on Interfaith Connections.
Reston Interfaith has been working for over 30 years to bring hope and relief to thousands of needy families and individuals in Fairfax County. Their social service programs include the Embry Rucker Community Shelter, which gives emergency lodging, food, and support to over 600 homeless men, women, and children a year. The Food Pantry, which provides food to low-income, elderly, and disabled persons. And the Laurel Learning Center, which offers quality, affordable childcare and family services to vulnerable working, low-income families. But none of these programs is possible without invaluable volunteer and financial help from caring individuals and organizations within our community. To learn how you can help, visit Reston Interfaith on the web at restoninterfaith.org or call 571-323-9555. Through your efforts, you can help Reston Interfaith make Fairfax County a better place.
Working with a group of people that put together this day is like absolutely one of my favorite things that I've been doing over the last few months and last year of my life, because the people who are doing this are some of the most interesting and thoughtful and fun people that I come across.
We've had the opportunity to start something new. And I think there's always a lot of energy around that, bringing ideas from a variety of faith traditions together. We are not in relationships of hostility, we're not in relationships of proselytism, but we're in a common journey as learners and as seekers towards a better self and a better faith community that we represent.
I'm just really surprised by the diversity of the people that are here. Interfaith tends to be Judaism, Christianity, Islam. But here I've even expanded beyond that. So I've got to talk to Latter-day Saints, people who are secular humanists, Baha'is, people who I never really would have gotten a chance to meet otherwise. So I like this opportunity to meet diverse people.
This is God for me. God is diversity, and I see the beauty in the conversations that we're having today. I feel like I thrive off of seeing God in so many forms now, beyond my own denomination and faith tradition.
When I have to express my own beliefs to somebody outside my own community, that translation work is super informative. It helps me understand my own faith better because I can't take for granted that everybody already understands the language I'm speaking. And at the same time that I am learning about myself, I get the benefit of hearing other people's experience about their traditions and learning from them, and they'll see things in a totally different way than I will. It deepens my own faith.
I love interfaith spaces. I love the fact that they're sort of predicated on the idea that we're going to talk respectfully about issues that are very important to each of us, and issues of social justice, economic inequality, homophobia, sexism. These are issues that should be addressed in coalition with each other, and they're not religious or atheist issues, and we should be able to talk about them as allies.
Before tonight, I've always thought of raising awareness on my own, and this made me realize that maybe I can talk to other religious groups on campus to coordinate with them and to help them out and have them help me out in building community.
Certainly in a city like Washington, D.C., there are lots of young professionals, lots of people moving in and out, and even among the differences in our own practices and beliefs, I think that there's an inner unity that we're seeking something. And when we set out together on a journey, I think we all improve our lives.
I think the young people today, especially at this particular conference, they're not shying away from the conversation and the hard questions. They're not only questioning, their arms are open and they're accepting. And to know that that's the future, actually that's today, I'm thrilled, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
I am folding the pants. Do they go on my head?
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
This is no ordinary part-time job. This is something you can really get into because it's unlike anything else you do. This is the Air National Guard. Call 1-800-2GO-ANG.
1 in 8 Americans goes hungry. One idea helped change that. A community started a garden that blossomed into farmers markets. 1 in 6 children lives in poverty. One group of women found an answer by opening a daycare center that their neighbors could afford. Today, 36 million Americans live in poverty, but one by one, people are helping themselves and each other to change the picture of poverty to one of hope. For easy ways you can help, visit povertyusa.org.
Welcome back to Interfaith Connections. I am your host, Jackie Fuller. In our next segment, we want to focus on the environment and what local communities are doing to green their spiritual environment. And I have on the show today Priscilla Martinez from the Adams Center in Sterling, Virginia, and I have Nitin Dogra from the Bhumi project, which is a global organization that is based in the UK. Thank you both for coming on the program today.
Thank you, Jackie, for having us.
You're welcome. Now we will start with you, Priscilla. Can you give us some background information about your organization as well as the work that you do?
Sure, absolutely. I'm here representing the Adams Center, which stands for the All Dulles Area Muslim Society. We're actually in Fairfax County as well as Loudoun County. And within our mosque, we have a group called the Holistic Family Circle, which I help to chair. And so we kind of focus not just on the environment, but on holistic health, sustainable living, mindful parenting as well. So a little bit of everything.
Okay. And with your organization?
So the Bhumi project is a global organization, and it works internationally across the globe with the Hindu community to raise awareness about the environmental concerns that we're facing, and just kind of Bhumi, the word Bhumi literally means Mother Earth. And we partner with the Oxford Center for Hindu Studies, which is in UK, and Alliance of Religions and Conservation.
And can you share with us some examples that your communities are doing in regards to protecting Mother Earth or building awareness with your members in regards to making things more environmentally friendly or conscious?
Sure. Well, in terms of the mosque itself, as a community, we try to do small things as well as large things. The small efforts that we have are things like recycling, which we've been doing for many years within our facility. We, within the past couple of years, installed motion sensors for the sinks in the bathrooms, as well as hand dryers versus using paper towels and such. Our light switches in our various rooms have little decals that remind you to turn them off when they're not in use. We also, at times, will have a workshop about not just investing based on Islamic values in terms of moral values, but also the Islamic value of sustainable living and being socially responsible. So there are workshops that we have from time to time as well that address issues like that.
So there are a couple of things, like one is what we do locally, and then there's what we do globally. So locally, like giving an example, one of our partner temples, which is a ISKCON temple in DC, we held an organic gardening class, which was, I think, for 4 or 5 weeks, where people can come in and have free lessons about organic gardening. They do their composting and waste management. So I think waste management is one of the key areas which most of the temples are trying to incorporate. And that's something locally. If we talk about globally, we recently organized Hindu Environment Week, which is like the first of its kind. It was from February 17th to 23rd, and it was spread across, all over the globe. More than like 3,000 people participated. And there was a special toolkit we developed where people can, organize film screenings or debates, and you can, give flyers about, how they can start doing things which can help our planet, like energy efficient lighting, so that kind of stuff. So small steps that we are taking. Yeah.
Okay. And with the pictures you have shared with us, are they also part of that activity during that time period?
Yeah.
Okay, because one in particular that struck my eye were the young ladies. They're like in the, I guess that's purple or in red. So what was going on in that?
So that's basically a school. It's a place called Varanasi. It's one of the major pilgrimage sites in India, and it's very important based on our faith. So it's a school out there, and they perform this activity where they have promoted planting trees, because in India the big problem is, as we are developing, a lot of urbanization is happening, and the forest cover is depleting like anything. So it's very important out there that we protect our forests and plant more trees. So that's what they're doing there.
And then we have 2 pictures here that looks like it's by water. If that's a cleanup going on in both those areas?
So those are another 2 sites. One of them is Jagannath, that's in Orissa, that's a state. And then other one is from the Kumbh Mela, I think the second one. That's the Mela, that's it's an event which happens like after every 12 years.
Okay.
And I could be wrong, probably more than 1 million people, not just Hindus, like Buddhists and Westerners, like they get there. It's hard to organize for, they try to do their best,
right,
but a lot of stuff happens, and that's what we're trying, cleanup activities, So we were there.
Okay. And then you have the group shot here and you're holding up your banner. Yeah. So what's going there?
So can you, I just wanted to see, because they're...
Get that for you.
Yeah.
It looked like, was it a blessing or, let's see.
Yeah, so basically that's in Rishikesh. That's another site in another state, which is Uttarakhand. And this, this Swamiji, he's very active in, green work. So, one of our important activities for us is, there are already people out there doing this kind of work within our community. It's just that we are finding out now. And what we are trying to do is to, connect those dots. And he's already doing so much work. Ganges, you might have heard, it's a river in India. Very sacred to us, but very polluted. And he works a lot, for cleaning up, that river.
Wow.
That's a big activity. So that's up at their ashram.
Okay. And Priscilla, for you, I know one of the big pushes now with going green in at mosque during Ramadan. Can you share with us any experiences around that, or what feedback have you been getting around doing a green Ramadan?
Well, I know that within the district there is a group called the Green Muslims, and they have what they call a green Ramadan, where instead of calling it an iftar, I-F-T-A-R, which means fast breaking, they call it a leftar. And the left stands for leftovers. So, Ramadan normally is a very social time. People go over to each other's houses for dinner, or events at the mosque for dinner. And so the idea is, rather than waste, because there are a lot of verses in the Quran, our holy book, about not wasting, rather than waste, bring your leftovers, come together. So part of it is to bring your leftovers and not be wasteful. And the other part is to have zero trash. So you're asked to bring your own dishes, cloth napkins, a bag to take home with you, your dishes, so that you can go home and wash them and such. So it's very individualized. It's a great effort, and it's one of the ways of one of the efforts that is out there at making Ramadan green.
That's cool.
So I think just continuing that point, it just reminds me of one of the things. One of the temples where I live, close to Haran, it's in Chantilly. So what they started doing was, in Hinduism, people, like to take as an offering, food products or stuff. So what they decided, they started telling people when they bring in stuff, don't bring perishable stuff, because a lot of time it's an issue, right? Let's say they bring 100 people come and they all bring, but they cannot, distribute it. It's going to spoil, and it's all going to go trash. So what they started doing was telling people, if they want to bring, we don't hurt your feelings that don't bring, but bring dry fruits so that they can stay as long as they need to, and so like small things, but what we can manage, and it can help too. So yeah.
And I wanted to add, if I could, to one of the things that Nitin, sorry. One of the things that it had said about, there's a lot of these efforts already going on in faith communities, but we're just finding out, and we're just starting to network. And I think that that's part of, because every faith, really one of the things that we all have in common is that we have this call to care for creation. And so whether, however you may recognize the divinity in our lives, part of it definitely is represented by earth and nature and everything that God has created. And so, so it's something that really is integral already in every faith, but we're just now starting to network, and in the age of social media. So two organizations I wanted to mention that I think are wonderful. This are the Interfaith Conference of Metropolitan Washington. Yes. They often put together lectures and seminars, and often from an interfaith perspective, with a rabbi and a priest and an imam and a guru, and then another one called GWIPL, Greater Washington Interfaith Power and Light. They are part of IFC as well. And then again, the networking with Green Muslims. I personally have a blog, salammama.com, where I also network with friends of many other faiths who chat and network and talk together about green living and real food recipes, shopping locally, and supporting your local environment, service projects, how to integrate that with our families and our children, and raising them with an awareness of what it means to be in touch with nature and our calling to take care of God's earth.
Okay. And what initiatives does your communities, do they do around Earth Day? Because that seems to be a big push. And it's also like with some communities, it's incorporated in the service or so forth. So is that the same way in your communities?
I think like I said last year, one of the temples started organic gardening classes around that time. And it was spread for 6 weeks, I guess. One of the things I did was, took some flyers, because we have some toolkits on our webpage, like Green Temple, Compassionate Living, which you can use, and it has some, things that you can do. So we distributed flyers, and, people took them. Some of them were, really interested, and then, we also put stuff on our Facebook page where people can take, cues on what they can do. So, stuff like that. We keep on doing that, yeah.
And this year at Adams Center, we'll be working with not just GWIPL, but a organization called LEAP. And we will be having, during Earth Day weekend, that weekend right before, home energy workshops that we'll be presenting at the mosque. So people can come and talk about ways, small ways, because it's easy to get overwhelmed. You know, where do I start? There's so many, ways that we can be responsible. So it's easy to wonder where do I start, and to just throw up your hands and not do anything. And so I like to, one of the things that I promote on my blog is start where you are. Baby steps are important, and if we each do something small, then it adds up and we can make a difference together. So this workshop is going to be about small ways that you can observe your home energy and then see changes that you can make, ever so small. You just lower or raise the thermostat depending on the season, even just by a degree. You're not uncomfortable, but you're making a difference. So we're going to host that workshop on Earth Day weekend.
So I think bringing that point, similar stuff that, like I've said, we distributed flyers, and it had like a research-based thing, like if you take all the lights and put all energy efficient lights, how much it's going to save. So when people see that number, and we were telling them, if you just, stop the water tap while you're brushing your teeth, don't leave it open for 2 minutes, it's going to save so much gallons over a year. And when people would see that number, they were like, boggle how much. It's a very small thing, but it can be so much big when, like hundreds of people are doing. And it doesn't take much effort. Like you said about thermostat. While you're sleeping at night, don't leave it at 65 or 70, because you're under covers. You can take it down to 60, 62, even 3 degrees. You're saving gas, right? So it's a big difference, yeah.
Now with your organization, is there a focus on also having something based here in the U.S.?
So like one of the programs that we started last year is called Energy Shield, and it's in partnership with Green Faith, which is another interfaith organization in New Jersey. And we're trying to kind of have temples, partner with Green Faith. And what Energy Shield is kind of a badge of honor, a certification, where temple takes activities over a period of time, like a week or 10 days, and they will get that certificate, designating, signifying that, they have been involved in those educational or practical activities, which would actually reduce your carbon footprint. And they also do the same for their, community members. So I think we already have 5 or 6 temples which have already, kind of signed up for that. It's one-time $50 fee for a year, and once they do those activities, they get that badge. So one of the temples in DC is already in there, a couple of temples in New York. So we're trying to get around 12 to 15. Because, you try to contact so many, but so you start, with those small numbers and you slowly build up.
That's wonderful. That's really neat.
Yeah. So how can our viewers find out more information about your respective groups?
So the Adams Center would be adamscenter.org, and then me personally, where you would find information about the Holistic Family Circle, that would be at Salam, S-A-L-A-M, Mama, M-A-M-A.com, and all of my contact information is there.
Okay.
And Bhumi Project, you can, just Google it, it's B-H-U-M-I project.org, and then we have a blog. We have a Facebook presence, I manage the Facebook page. So, these are the 3 ways you can get in touch with us. Yeah.
Okay, and finally, we'd like to know some fun facts about the both of you outside of your work. And it's always it's like a very serious issue, especially with the environment, but what do you do for fun that you're comfortable sharing with us?
I am a volunteer with the Boy Scouts of America. So I happen to be chairman of Goose Creek District, which out of the National Capital Area Council is the largest district, covers all of Loudoun County, over 5,000 scouts, over 2,000 adult volunteers. And so I am the chairman of Goose Creek District, which is a volunteer position. And so I am constantly doing scouting stuff left and right, and camping and hiking and helping kids get merit badges and so on. A lot of green initiatives when it comes to scouting as well. So yeah, that's my thing.
Okay.
I like to take walks, listen to music, dance. That's just besides whatever work I do. And I like gardening too.
Okay. Yeah. What type of music? Just curious.
I think I like anything that sounds nice.
Okay.
Sometimes I listen to stuff which I don't know the language. Maybe it's French, but the music is nice. It peps me up. That's it. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for coming on the show today. We appreciate the work that you're doing in our world, and this also gives our audience an opportunity to connect with you and get involved. So we also like being able to help our viewers that way. So we appreciate all that you do.
Thank you, Jackie, for having us.
You're welcome. And thank you for watching Interfaith Connections. If you want to find out more information, you can go to our website at www.interfaithconnections.squarespace.com, and you can follow us on Twitter at www.twitter.com/IFC TV show. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye.